when you're hunting, you notice deer's mannerisms, whether they're going to stay or they're going to go. And I saw him. Johnny couldn't see what was going on. I saw his mannerisms, and I'm like, dude, he's going to book it. So he wheels up like this, and I just was like, God, please. And I just let it rip. He's quartering away, a shot, and I look to my left again, looking for blood, and I'm like, doubt, and I just turned my head to the right, 30 yards, and he was dead against the tree. And I just,
Dang. There you go.
Yeah, was just lost it.
Let's go. Let's go.
Welcome to episode. I'm going to stop saying what episode it is now because the next episode. You might be wondering.
We've recorded so many now that
that JD's huge brain has already lost track of them.
Hey, Memo.
I know. It's actually not functional. It's just the corner. All right. You might be wondering, what's the deal with the shades, the pipe, but mostly what's the deal with the stash? The stash is here because we hit 500 subscribers, but that's probably old news by the time you're watching this. Old news, we hit that late November. We're stoked about it. I don't know if you're stoked about it, but we're stoked because it's so fun to see you guys. I lost my glasses. I might need to.
Take your sunglasses off. You look ridiculous.
Take them off.
I don't know why I wore those. It just felt right. Felt right to wear
the water over there. Looks cool, but can't see anything.
In my dark basement with my shades on. Dude, we're stoked. 500 subscribers. 500 of you who've joined this crazy journey called Huntxp. We're grateful for every single one of you. And we see when you subscribe, we're grateful for it. We feel like you're joining our community that's creating something here. Like we said from the very first episode with the three of these hooligans, we said we don't know where this is going to go, and we're now excited because there's more people who have no idea where this is going than just three.
Yep.
So, we're pumped. Keep it going. Tell your friends, share, like, subscribe, so more people can jump on this journey.
Did you know that you can use AI to become a better hunter? Here's what you got to do. Our team at Huntxp has built a custom AI. We call it Crockett. And it is the combination of the power of AI and the collective wisdom of hunters for many years mashed up together and put right in your pocket, right in the field where you can level up your hunting game. You can ask it things like, what's the best broadhead setup for my situation? What's the best day to hunt this week? All sorts of questions. You can take pictures of the snake you almost stepped on in South Dakota and say, is this a rattlesnake? That's something that actually happened to us. It's super fun. Our community's having a great time building this. We'd love for you to join in at huntxp.com. Join us.
Dude, we're pumped for this episode. I'm pumped for this episode because this is kind of a cool thing. Cody, Johnny, and I have not met this guest in person. We texted with him a little bit. I know him just from his content on the internet. It's The Outdoors in Color. It's Joe from The Outdoors in Color. He, I think, is based in North Carolina. We're going to find out. But hunter, fisherman, and he just got back from a trip out west hunting elk, and successful trip out in Idaho, which is cool because that's where Cody's based. And we're going to pick his brain about that and just see where it goes. He seems like an awesome guy to know. He's got really fun content. My kids actually really enjoy watching his content because he does it with his family and kind of brings you along what it's like to be an outdoorsman in North Carolina. So before that, Johnny, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm really excited for tonight.
Yeah, man. Cody, you've been duck hunting, dude. been sending us pictures of your epic locations. What's the duck hunting scene in Idaho like, man?
Yeah, it's been fun so far. I've been going out with a buddy. My waterfowl hunting experience has always been kind of secondhand, where I've like kind of just tagged along. So I really enjoy it. But it's been fun to do it out here. Kind of as a way to get to know this new guy that I'm going out with. He goes quite more than I do, but we go almost every Saturday we can. So that's been fun, and it's just cool. It's different for me. Like I'm used to killing ducks on little ponds or going on, Lake Superior or whatever, and you have so much water. But here, I guess last week I was on a big river that was quite a bit more water, but it's cool to just like look up and see the mountains in the background, which is kind of unique for me while hunting ducks. So that's cool. And yeah, a ton of birds flying for sure. Just kind of figuring out, there's a decent amount of pressure too. So figuring out at what point in the year, where you want to go to get away from guys, but then also where the birds are flying through. The migrators are coming through. And so being in the right spot where they're, the majority of the birds are flying. And so, yeah, it's been fun to do that for sure. Been cool. Kind of new locations that I'm not used to. That's been pretty cool. Like last weekend, the river we were at was like it's like a cliff down to the river. And then we're just like sitting in sagebrush, which I've never shot ducks out of sagebrush before. That was pretty neat.
Dang.
So
That was
pretty cool.
Smells good. Smells real good.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
You want to hear a dumb anecdote? So this is how much I know about seasoning. So when we were done hunting in South Dakota, I plucked a sagebush branch. And I was like, I'm going to come home. I'm just going to crumble this up and I'm going to put it on my meat. And I kept looking at the instructions and looking at the sagebrush I had brought home and dried and prepared to put on the meat. And I'm like, oh, sagebrush. Not the same thing whatsoever.
Different.
Totally different.
Different. Yep.
Yeah.
They smell kind of close, but that's about it.
Yeah.
They do smell close. They don't belong on food, though. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you can comment and tell me differently.
Yeah.
We have been doing a fun thing in the background here. Not a lot of people have heard about yet. Maybe if they saw your 10-pointer video, they picked up on it a little bit. But Irish Setter sent us some boots to try this year. And we've been rocking them and loving them. So tell us about the ones that you've been rocking. The Elk Tracker.
Yeah, these are the Elk Tracker HTs. There is an uninsulated version and an insulated version. Since I was going to use them for Wisconsin rifle season, I got the insulated version. They're only 200 grams of insulation, which I was actually excited about because my problem always, my whole life is I'll walk a long way to my rifle stand and my feet are sweating. And it doesn't matter how much insulation you have in those boots, your feet are cold. So I was like, I'm going to try a really lightly insulated, instead of like 1,000 grams, I'm going to try 200. And it worked awesome because my hike into my rifle stand this year, I was in a very remote spot and I had to walk a way. And when I got there, it was cold. It was like in the 20s and sat down. And granted, I only had to sit for like an hour for lunch. Well, an hour. But anyway, my feet were awesome. I mean, it was wonderful. But I think the true testament of these boots is my scouting and my work leading up to rifle season is really, really vigorous. I'm really hard on my gear, especially my boots. I field tested a lot of boots before and ones I've bought in the past, but these are like right up there, top notch, super happy with them. I think my favorite part is they might look kind of heavy, but they're not. They're really lightweight, and durable. Like right away, I will say you do want to wear them around the house. You want to break them in before you do a long hike in them. But what I really love, because a lot of my old elk boots that I've used out west, the toe is not very strong, and you'll be trouncing around or you got weight on your back and you will just smack your toe on a log or a rock. Yeah. But these ones have it's not a steel toe, but it's like a hardened toe. And I liked that a lot because when you're banging through brush and stuff, you're not smashing your toe. when you're carrying all the weight that you carry into scout or to hang sets and stuff like that. They were super lightweight, super versatile. Loved them. So they're a
That's
staple
awesome.
now, I think.
That's awesome. John's going to do a full breakdown for us. Maybe it'll be out by the time this is out, but check it out. Keep posted on our website so you can take a look at that. I've been rocking the Vapor Treks. These just look sick. I love these things. And you're right, Johnny. The moment I put them on, I was like, ooh, stiff. And then I wore them around the house for like a day, and they're awesome now. Like, I love to just throw them on. I got these out in the woods for shotgun, and also a couple other times I've been out in the woods. Today, we're cutting down our Christmas tree, and I was wearing these out in the Christmas tree farm. And Daniel, my middle guy, wanted to play chase, and I just tore after him. Like, you could full on sprint in these things. They're awesome. They got like
Lots
this
of traction.
athletic fit, and I stood in the water for a long time with these things, just totally dry. I'm stoked most for turkey season, probably, for these things. Like, I've been known to literally run after turkey, so I was like, dude,
Yep.
this is gonna be great. Not like the big lugging, like rubber boot situation. Like, I can just tear. Happened last year. I like ran to get a second shot at one that I didn't make a great shot on. So they're great boots. I love them. I'm excited to test them even more during turkey season. But if you're looking for an all around boot, like affordable and just quality and the way they fit, it's super comfy. It's awesome. So thanks, Irish Setter.
Are those
Go ahead.
ones insulated? The ones that you got, JD, or no?
I opted not to get insulated. You can with the Vapor Treks if it works for your situation. Kind of like Johnny was saying, could be a whitetail boot if you want to insulate it a little bit. Or I was thinking more early season whitetail and turkey season. And if I got to throw a wool sock in there, I think it'll be just fine.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thanks, Irish Setter. Appreciate it. Go ahead.
One thing about the, I think by design, they are a little more rigid, and that is for, I think, the ankle support, right? When you're walking on uneven surfaces. I thought specifically for the elk tracker that mine has the same thing. It looks different, but it has the same thing on the back there. But I just can think of being out west and wearing some other elk boots and, uneven terrain, and you can almost turn an ankle, but these have a really rigid upper so that it's got a good ankle support on it.
Yeah, that's what I don't know that I've ever had a boot that I can just full on sprint in and also has that ankle support in the back like that, where like you can feel your foot settling in and being supported in that. So,
and I know the elk trackers, they make them in 10-inch also. These are 8-inch ones, but I know they make them.
Yeah. Higher on the cast.
Yep.
Good stuff. Well, thank you, Irish Setter. Appreciate it. What's up, Joe?
How's it going? I'm currently making deer soup right now. I've been no,
Perfect.
not real soup. I'll show you in just a second. My son shot an 8-pointer on Thanksgiving Day, and apparently making a Euro mount, but I forgot to add more.
Oh,
Sweet.
yeah. Awesome.
That's awesome, dude.
This is perfect for the pod. We get live action Euro mounting happening.
Yeah, man.
Right? So
that's good.
I shot my elk on October 16th, and it's been on my dinner table.
Nice.
Chaos in the household. So.
All right. We got Joe Jones here from the Outdoors in Color. We're so stoked to meet you, man. Welcome to the pod.
All right, man. Thanks for having me on. Excited.
Yeah, dude. We're excited. We're pumped. I've been watching your stuff for a while. I love your vlog style, and my kids actually watch some with me. And so I feel like our kids like know each other. At least my kids know your kids, and they have their favorites. So they've been tracking with the fish they're catching and stuff like that. So of course, we'll say this multiple times, but if you haven't checked out Joe's stuff yet, do that online. He walks you through the experience that in a really captivating way. So it's really cool to have you on the pod, man. Why don't you introduce yourself to the Huntxp community and then we'll dive in. We'd love to ask you a bunch of questions.
All right. Well, name's Joe Jones. Born and raised in a small town, North Carolina, Siler City, and my dad kind of taught us how to hunt and fish. I've got 3 brothers and 1 sister. I'm the youngest. Family of 5. I was obsessed with fishing and hunting growing up. Loved looking at Bassmaster magazines. Anytime I see a hunting magazine, I was just hooked. But that's just kind of grown into a passion. I know you guys are in the same boat. Just we're obsessed with being in the outdoors. So that's kind of where I'm at. I've got, the Outdoors in Color I created 3 years ago. Just a platform to kind of express myself in a couple ways. Obviously, as a parent, I documented a lot of my kids' adventures, and I was like, maybe I should, start bringing a camera along. And one of the things I want to inspire parents, no matter where you're at, is if they want to get outside fishing, hunting, exploring, hiking, just want to give them some kind of little bit of inspiration. And then just being a person of color in the outdoors, I want to promote diversity, and just be someone they connect with and give them advice if they're a first new hunter. Just anyone that wants to get out the doors, wherever you are, beginner, expert. I don't consider myself an expert. I just consider myself a lover of the outdoors and want to bring anyone along with myself in however way I can help.
Love that, dude. That's awesome. So what was your favorite thing to do hunting growing up in North Carolina?
It would probably be start out small game hunting.
Yeah.
My BB gun, like I think my brothers did a lot of plinking with their BB guns and shooting squirrels. I think that's how I got started into how to skin my own, deer. I'd watch my dad, but like shooting a squirrel and then skinning is very, very similar to a deer, just it's bigger. So I was doing that growing up, and then just stair stepping. My middle school teacher was obsessed with hunting. I went to a small Christian school in North Carolina, and he would put in real tree monster butts. And there was a couple guys in my class. We were obsessed. Like, so anytime we'd have a break in 8th grade, he would put them on. My high school class was 17. Graduated at 17.
There you go.
So that gives you an idea. So he's like, you guys are watching hunting shows in school? Yeah. That's how it was. But we were obsessed. Anytime we go hunting or talk about hunting, we call each other Bill, like Bill Jordan. So till this day, my buddy John Frost will say, "You want to go to the woods, Bill? Let's go to the woods, Bill." So
That's awesome.
Stuff.
As you're saying that, I'm like, yeah, I am a school teacher, and I'm like, I can't show hunting at school.
right.
I would love to, but I can't.
Yeah.
Great. That's good, man. Well, yeah. So you got 3 kids, right?
Yep. 3 kids, 8, 6, and 3. 2 boys, 1 girl.
8, 6, and 4 for me. What are yours, Johnny?
8, 6, and 3. 2 boys, 1 girl.
Hey,
Awesome.
let's
There you
go.
go.
Yeah.
Cody's got a pair out there in
Sweet.
Idaho.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy and a girl, 4 and 2. So
what have you noticed about bringing them up, man? Like it's obviously, I can tell it's a big passion of yours. We've joked about in this podcast. I think the first podcast we told our first deer kill story, and we were joking about how we look back on those now and notice our dads in those experiences, and how I don't know what the phrase was, like did a great job controlling their frustration, basically. So like what's the joy, and what is it like now as a hunter with these little hunters that you're basically discipling to be wonderful people, but hunters as well? Tell us a little bit about what you're noticing as you do that.
I don't know. That's a really good question. As not to make it about being a guy, but of course, whether you're the mom or the dad, you kind of want your kids to follow in your footsteps, whether it's sports. If you're a football player, I want my kid to be the best, play sport. But really, it was obviously I love hunting and fishing. I want my kids to. I want them to be happy in anything they want to do in life. I never want to pressure them to get into what I like. But obviously, it's kind of hard for them not to get into what I'm into, and it's such a part of my life. So, like getting my kids into fishing, not to say it was easy. It was just something that I would get them little fishing toys in the bathtub and just make a big deal about catching fish and then translating that when they get old. I think Parker caught his first fish at like 1. It's just, of course, hooking a fish and letting them feel the tug and that just seeing their excitement. It's just like,
Yep.
magic really. And that's kind of how I got them into the outdoors and an interest in obviously what their dad does. And, I didn't really pressure them if they didn't want to go fishing or they were done with it. I would, move on and just like shooting the bow. They're my oldest 2 kids, even my daughters actually wanting to shoot. So anytime I shoot, they're like, Dad, I want to shoot too. They're actually pulling me to actually, it's kind of awesome to see their journey where they're pushing me to go hunting or shoot the bow or go fishing. So it's been really awesome to see that journey where it's not just me pushing them, it's them pushing me, to get outside. So I love that my kids have just taken it and run with it. And it seems like it's going to be something that, they're going to carry with them the rest of their life. If they don't, that's fine. But, the experiences we had are absolutely priceless.
That's cool.
Tell us a little bit about hunting North Carolina, man. What would a couple upper Midwestern boys need to know jumping in the woods down there? Like what terrain are you hunting in? Like I'm familiar having experience in Tennessee and owning a place down there with Appalachia, but I've never hunted. That's not true. I did once in college in Tennessee. I had my rifle and I took my old Oldsmobile out for a rifle hunt. Didn't see a darn thing, but I was like, I got out there. I did it. But what would you, having put so many hours in the woods, what would you tell people who get the opportunity to hunt down there that they need to know it's different? Yeah.
So it's like North Carolina is so, so many parts are different and vast. Like I live in central North Carolina, which is mostly flat. There's agriculture, a lot of hardwoods. But then we have a lot of, swampy areas, what we call clear cuts where they log and then, areas get thick with, bars and whatnot. But in central North Carolina, you're going to have flat agriculture and then you're going to have a lot of ridge systems. I've never actually hunted in the mountains. So, that's really, obviously mountainous, but not as high as what I experienced in Idaho elk hunting. And then I've hunted eastern part of the state. We can get in a rabbit hole into that, but the eastern part of North Carolina is really well known for the biggest black bear. World record bear in the United States is out of North Carolina. I believe it's maybe 880 pounds. So not many people know that about North Carolina. I don't know why they grow so big in the eastern part of the state. I believe it's Hyde County, Terrell County. Those counties around there can produce a massive bear. So I got to experience 2 separate bear hunts. Last year I was able to harvest my first bear. And the eastern part of the state, you're allowed to use hounds for hunting, deer and bear. So I got to shoot my first bear with hounds, which was an incredible experience because there's a lot of controversy with using hounds and chasing any game. But you saw it in the news with, Colorado banning mountain lion hunting with hounds. So, just experience it. I got a lot of respect. But North Carolina hunting is, you've got so many different animals. You got small game. I'm also turned on to rabbit hunting, by my barber. He hunts religiously almost every Monday because they're closed. Duck hunting is amazing. I've dipped my toes in last year on walking in public, just sky blasting. I didn't know I was doing, don't know what to call, but, duck hunting is really good. It's really good. Yeah, trust me, I was sky blasted. The eastern part of the state,
Love it.
the eastern part of the state, is really well known for duck hunting as well.
I got a question for you, Joe. So it sounds like, central where you're from, some ag fields, some hardwoods, some logged areas, ridge systems. That sounds pretty similar to, parts of Wisconsin, where I hunt. And, what's minus the temperature difference. But the big question I have, because I always wondered this, different regions produce different size deer, and I'm not talking like rack size, but like, what is like a typical deer, or like, how about like a mature buck in your area? Like, what does it weigh?
What's crazy. It also varies. The further east you go, their deer are
Yeah.
a lot smaller in body weight.
Right.
Central North Carolina typically has bigger deer. Western is probably, I would say, second. So an average mature buck, and this is just off of my little world of hunting, is probably 180, and then is probably 210. So I would probably say our average buck is probably 180, 190, and big is 200, 210 pounds. Each is like 180 is really big, and probably average is 150 for a buck.
So that's kind of, it's kind of interesting, because my thought right away is when I hear about like some more southern states from where we are, I don't associate with egg and stuff like that. I was thinking like, man, a big buck in that area has got to be like way like 150, which it sounds like in eastern part it does. So like that makes sense to me, like a 150 there. So like in northern Wisconsin here, you're looking at similar, like, a mature buck is 180 plus, and anywhere up to 220, somewhere in there. But like, it sounds like pretty similar.
Yeah. You guys deer are like 250, I thought.
Not always. I mean, they're like every once in a while, but
yeah,
I would say more in like central Wisconsin. There's some big bodied deer down there.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then more of the egg lands. Yeah.
Do you want to tell us about that bear hunt, man? That sounds pretty interesting. You want to tell us the story? How did you get that one?
Absolutely. Met a random stranger in Facebook group, hunting Facebook. We had a connection, and it was actually a trout fishing page. I was posting pictures of my kids fishing and then him as well. And we just would always comment on each other's stuff. And then I think he might have private messaged me or like in a picture, we're like, hey man, we should try to go fishing together. So I saw his Facebook and was like, wow, this guy hunts bears. He hunts with hounds. This is crazy. So like we were chatting about it. And I was like, man, I'd love to go. He's like, dude, come with me. So this guy, shout out Trevor. He's amazing. He's lives in the western part of North Carolina, but hunts west and east. So he sends me, literally, we make a plan, sends me coordinates to this random area out in the middle of nowhere in eastern North Carolina. So I'm like, where the heck? I'm meeting a random stranger out in the middle of nowhere. My wife was like, dude, my wife was like, you're crazy. I'm like, it's the guy. I mean, I guess it's just the guy. But I meet his parents. I met his parents first. So the whole part of, so like the hound hunting culture, I'm not speaking for all of it, but in North Carolina, but just this experience was like everyone was a part of it. His mom and dad, I met them out in the middle of nowhere. They rolled their windows down and talked to me like, I was their son and was like, hey, this is going to happen. You're going to hear that, they gave me I guess it's called a CB radio. So they had, just think of a 5-mile area with, square chunks laid out, and you got roads, in each track. So you got a lot of people set up on all these tracks, roads. So I met up with his parents, and they were explaining, hey, we're going to drop the dogs. We're going to let you know where they are. And then what you're going to do, you're going to drive down this road for about 500 yards, and you're going to take a left, and then you're going to go about 300 yards, and you're going to park your car, and then you're going to sit out there and just listen and wait. So I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. Cool. There you go. Yeah. All right. So they're like, yeah, go left or right. I'm like, okay. And they're like, hey, what's going to happen? You're going to, we're going to talk on the radio. And during hound hunting, they have the callers on them to track, and, apparently they can read their barks per minute. So however fast the dog is barking, that means, they're on a hot track. They can tell the difference between a hot track or they're actually on a bear, the way the dogs are barking. So that's how they communicate, and they're watching. They'll be like, hey, Joe, we need you to go, turn on this road, go left. So it's a lot of getting out of your car, sitting, listening. So whenever I got out, it was pitch black, and I'm like, I had a shotgun with buckshot and slugs, and then I had a 270. So I'm like, and I had pistol on my chest. So I'm like, I didn't know.
Arsenal.
Yeah, man,
I love that.
Like, I'm not letting this bear take me out, like, because I had no idea what to expect. So, so these hounds, they're trying to find obviously a live bear, and
bears don't want to run into Joe in the woods, man.
No, today.
Yeah.
So that first experience was wild. We actually never got a bear, but there were some hot tracks where we were, literally racing around these dirt roads to try to catch up with the dogs. And sometimes the bears would just evade us and go on property we couldn't get on. So we did that all day, and I was only able to go one day, but they typically, if they're coming from Western Ohio, they'll stay for like a week at the bears. And then fast forward to 2023 when I shot my bear. It was a similar situation, but on a game land that only opens. It literally only opened, I think, 3 days in November and another 3 or 4 days in December. So the pressure is not, when it's open, there's a lot of pressure, but there's a lot of break for the bears to be relaxed and not be, too pressured. So, it was a same type of scenario. Trevor's like, meet me here, park here. And then this game land with the tracks, they're gated. So you can only drive, parallel to these, tracks. So he's like, you're going to park here. We're going to drive down and then drop the dogs. So I was on foot. He's like, you're going to pretty much walk along this trail. So on both sides, it's swamp. And there's actually gators in this area. But I was like,
Thus the pistol on the chest,
Yeah,
right?
how many guns
Yeah.
did you have this time? How many guns
actually
this
only
time?
had 2. I had the shotgun and actually brought a 243. My son's 243. But he said my alligators aren't an issue because, they're, more docile in the winter. So, but anyways, he says, you're going to walk slowly. So this whole time, I have the radio and I can hear the dogs. They're probably 500 yards to my right. And I'm pretty much, he said, try to walk even with them. But you're going to try to walk a mile and then you're going to walk back. So I'm probably 250 yards down the path and it's pitch black walking. And then of course the first light hits and I can kind of almost see the gate. Then I go another 250 yards and the dogs are barking. They're barking pretty loud and constant, but they're not moving. Right when I said that is where, if I would have stayed, I would have had a shot at the bear. So I keep going another 250 yards and, I look back at the trail where I can see the gate. So I look back and I see Trevor fly in front of the gate. And I look at him like, what is he doing? So I look back away from him on the trail I'm facing. And then I turn back around at him. And there's this black bear with his paw up looking at me. But I don't think it knew I was there because I was so far away. So me and Trevor are literally looking at each other. And obviously we can't shoot. So the bear takes a couple steps and it's slow. It goes to another track. The next hunter's on the track. They shoot, they miss. And Trevor's like, yo, do the truck. So I'm sprinting like 700 yards. I get in the car and we're hauling down this dirt road. And then he slams on his brakes because he's watching everything. And by the way, again, it's a whole family ordeal. His parents are there, his cousins, nephews.
Yeah.
And he has his kids. He's got 2 kids. His wife's there. They're all in the same truck. So he's flying down the road. We park. He's like, he's telling me what's going on. He's like, Joe, they have a bear bayed. And I'm like, oh. So like in my mind, it's just happening. So there's typically 2 ways, bear hunting with hounds. So they're going to bay the bear and it's going to be typically in a tree, which was what I was expecting. I was like, oh, this is cool. Kind of safe. The bear goes up a tree and I shoot it, right? And then the second way is the bear is either typically too big to go up a tree or they just want to, and they stay on the ground. So we got out of the truck and he's like, they're on the bear. We're going through, I don't know, you'll see the video if you've ever seen it, but I don't know what kind of grass it is, but it's at least 10 feet tall. It looks like bamboo, but it's really, really, really thin. It is like 5 to 10 feet of visibility. So I am right on Trevor's butt going through all this switchgrass and it's opening up here and there, but then it's really tight. And we're getting closer and closer and closer and closer. And before we get closer, I'm like, hey, what's going on? I was like, is it a tree? He said, no, it's on the ground. So immediately out, things got like, it got real. I was like, I'm about to into an area where I can't see what's in front of me. And this bear is on the ground with me. So then I kind of like, it just really switched on like, this is a serious situation. Like, I better shoot straight. So we're zigging and we're zagging and we're getting within like 50 yards and we're kind of going slower. And we get within 30 yards and Trevor sees him as he carries. There it is. So we're sneaking up on it and I'm seeing the bear swipe at the dogs and a little bit of fight because they're barking and jawing at it, backing up. And I got within 5 yards and dropped him with the 12-gauge club. It was insane.
5 yards.
That's crazy.
Dude, like what
awesome.
starts as my GoPro, because I was going through all that switch grass, it flipped up, so you hear the shot, but you just see like,
Oh,
grass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
So
don't think you
goes,
could have
man.
seen anyway how thick it was, but it was just incredible. Just an incredible experience of hound hunting. And then the whole trek, everyone, like 10, 15 people came in. We had to chop all the, a pack because we brought in a sled and pulled the bear out with like 2 other guys and myself. I think he said the estimated to be about 320. So a decent bear
Dang.
for me.
That's a
and
good bear.
That's
Good
huge,
bear.
man. Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
There it was. And the meat, I've never had bear meat. I thought it was, I just ate my last package of sausage. I have a back strap and a tenderloin left. And it's absolutely, I love it. People say, depending on the bear's diet, it's going to taste, if they eat fish, they fishy. Berries is the best bear. But in North Carolina, I don't think they really eat all fish, but so they're eating a lot of, I think, peanuts and there are berries, obviously. But this bear was fantastic. I love bear meat.
Dude,
So
that sounds like a ride.
I shot a bear, I think it was 2019. And they run hounds here too, but they do a hound season and then they do a bear bait season. You can actually bait for them here. And I own some property and I baited for it. And man, the stuff we bait with, I'm sure some of you are very aware, but it's like candy, right?
Yeah, junk food.
And it's not even a joke to say. I gave some to my father-in-law. He's like, "This is like sweet," and I'm like, "Well, it was literally eating sugar. It probably had diabetes, you know." But so that was a fun experience. I shot it on my own property, but I was in a tree stand and it was like 50 yards away. It was not on the ground from 5 yards. That is insane.
Yeah,
That's
dude, that's
crazy, man.
wild. That's cool.
It was intense.
I think
That's
my
awesome.
biggest takeaway though is that if I ever want to wrestle an alligator, you got to do it in December in North Carolina because they're docile.
Yeah,
Pro tip there. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that, Joe.
absolutely.
Like that's new to me to even just hear, thinking about like, yeah, you're just walking through the woods, hunting after some big game. You gotta be thinking alligators. It's like, oh wow, that's different. That's
Yeah, but
different
don't
for
worry.
sure.
They're docile. It's fine.
Yeah.
That's probably nothing for you from North Carolina, but us Wisconsin boys who don't see alligators are
No,
like, oh god.
they're not as many in North Carolina, but South Carolina, they're huge. Georgia, they're huge. So we go to Hilton Head. I don't know if you've ever heard of that,
Yeah.
South Carolina. And I will fit these, golf ponds, and I will get chased by, 8, 10-foot gators. As soon as you
Dang.
catch a fish, they're like it's a dinner bell. But yeah, I don't play with no gators.
Yeah.
No.
Dude. Well, also you mentioned this already, but you went out to Idaho and you like fulfilled so like I've heard like the more you hunt, the further west you get. And I feel like you first time out there fulfilled everybody's dream to go out there and tag out a really nice bull too. So tell us that story. And then I think we'll probably have some questions because I've never done that. Johnny's bagged a couple elk. Cody has not. So I think there's a lot of guys and gals who are probably listening to this who are like, what do I need to know when I head out west for the first time? So tell us the story and then I'm sure we'll have some questions.
Yeah, so out of respect for my friend, and this buddy is actually named his name is Johnny, which is awesome. And
Those are the best buddies.
Yeah,
The
so
best
he
buddies
ties
named Johnny.
into this growing up and hunting together. So we went together, school together from kindergarten, actually preschool, all the way up to high school. And we played soccer together, played sports together. He's always been someone that I've looked up to. He's been a great man of God, and just his whole family is just beast. Just a bunch of bad A people. They're just like in soccer, they would be always first in everything. Sprints, endurance, but just always looked up to him. Short story long, we've always hunted together, small game, deer. They were part of my first year experience. And we've still been in contact. He's been doing missionary work after college. He's lived in Idaho for about 10 years, and we've always talked about going hunting together out there, and he's been like, "Hey man, let's go." And the last 3 years, I was like, "Dude, it's gonna happen." The plan was for us to go together as a family on fall break for my kids' fall break, which actually was perfectly aligned with the bee tag season. But just that fell through. My mother-in-law ended up going on another trip, so she wasn't gonna go with us. So my wife was like, "This is really expensive for me to be staying with 3 kids. What I'd be doing home, and they'd be annoying me, and you'd be having fun, and I couldn't take them anywhere. So this is a waste
Yeah.
of money."
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like a twofold. I was like, "Oh, this is better for me," but actually makes sense. It made sense. I wish
Yeah.
that the kids were there, because it would have been great to have them and have them, around the experience. But anyways, this was at least 10 years in the making. I knew I needed to get fit. Like, I am a yo-yoer. 5'6", so I'm short. Was athletic. Played college soccer. Like, that was one. I was 170, and then I had a hurt my knee when I've had 2 knee surgeries. Second knee surgery was out of college, and I started to gain weight. So, like, I knew I needed to get fit, and I knew it was going to happen this year. So, like, I was actively working out. So I got down to 220. What's the funny story is I got down to 225, 230 was kind of like where I was kind of plateauing, and because I love to eat. And then I went, just fast forwarding in this process of working out, I went to Hilton Head August this year, and I came back 203. So, like, I got back, I was
Oh,
like,
that's real.
"Oh my gosh, I've got to lose weight." So, I switched gyms, like, kicked it into high gear, got back to 225, from August to October, trying to eat better. Um, I knew I needed to be fit. I didn't know how fit I needed to be. I was not fit enough.
Yeah.
I was not ready. As Kevin Hart would say, I wasn't ready. Um, So, I fly into Idaho, and I fly in Saturday, right? If you guys have questions, stop me. Um,
I have a question. So points, did you have to build those up or
over the
OTC?
over the counter, yep. Over the
Okay.
counter,
And
yeah,
so in Idaho, you can just pick up an OTC out of state.
yep.
Got it. Cool.
So, you typically apply in December. I think last year was December 1st. You can go in the stores, which wasn't an option because from North Carolina, as a non-resident, on the phone or online waiting room.
How did
I
that go? Because I've heard it's wild.
Dude, so this is my first out of state hunt. Like, this is how lucky I am. I didn't know 10% of hunters in Idaho are successful. I had no idea what a draw. But with the over the counter situation, I didn't know how it was going to work. So I did do some research. So what I read was, if you're going online, the browser, in which I was on my phone, I was actually at work. So when it opened, I can't remember what mountain time, but you can only get into the waiting room 30 minutes before the tag cell went off, right?
Yeah.
So I go in right at 30 minutes, and I see my number go to 30,000.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh my gosh, what is this?"
Yeah.
And then I don't know what was happening. I don't know if it was updating with live sales on the phone, live sales in store, but it went to 35,000. It was 40,000. Went to 45,000 in line. I'm just like, my heart sank. And
Yeah.
I had another buddy that was also planning to come with me, and he was working from home and needed his phone or computer. He was like, "Screw it, there's no way I'm getting this." So I was on this online waiting. You could not close it, so I locked my phone just to make sure I didn't get kicked out. 3 hours later, it came to my turn to pick a tag, and there were no tags in the unit I was in. I didn't have any elk tags available in my unit, but there was mule deer, so I picked that. It was kind of like, I want to kill a mule deer, obviously, but I wanted to kill an elk. And that was kind of doubting me going, it's like, "Do you want to delay and go next year?" Because it was a lot of money. I went the cheapest way possible. Having a buddy in Idaho was very helpful. I was able to ship all of my food, my non-perishables, everything via Amazon. I shipped to him. I shipped water filters, anything I wanted to take with me. to save weight and money, I shipped to him, which was not many people can do that when they go on their elk hunts. So I got a mule deer tag, and then Johnny wasn't aware of the whole process as well because he only been there 10 years and he was a resident. So they have resale tags. So what I understand, I guess a lot of people that are serious in elk hunting will cast a wide net and apply or go try to get tags in as many states as possible. So I guess whenever they find their state that they really want and they get it, they'll resell whatever they don't want. But in March, they will post before this resale tag date goes live what units have tags available. So in March, there were 3 tags available in my unit. Bless my buddy, he went to try to help me out and see what tags are available. I was on the phone online and they got sold out. And then I think the next one was June, and that's how I was able to, there was another 3 tags resold in the unit, and I was the lucky 3 to get that. So the stars aligned and I got me a tag.
I got a comment about that because I go out to Colorado and I elk hunt and mule deer hunt. My family does that. That your experience, that is so different than anything I've ever heard of, because for us, we pull into Colorado, we go to Walmart and we buy your elk. You just buy your elk tag.
Wow.
You just
That's
go,
crazy.
it's over the counter, buy your elk tag. Now, what we do also, and I actually wrote an article about this for us, was my top tip when you go out elk hunting in this area is to get a mule deer tag too. Because your chances of coming home with an animal, like it's your chance of success, like you already mentioned, it's like 10%. It's not good. Public land, not great. So I always, if I can, I always have a mule deer tag because your chances are just that much better of harvesting an animal.
Yeah. Well, and Idaho is unique too, I think, because I was talking to someone about this the other day. They don't actually do preference points there. So there's like what you mentioned where like there's over-the-counter tags, but there's still a limited number, right, for different units. And so it's first come, first serve on those. You don't have to apply, but you do have to, get in line. And then, they don't have preference points, which kind of surprised me. I just kind of assumed that you could put in for preference points. You don't get a tag or whatever, you can get a preference point. But yeah, they don't do preference points here, which is unique because I think a lot of the other Western states, they have that system built in where, you didn't get a tag, you can save up preference points or whatever for different animals, different units and stuff like that.
Didn't Colorado change for next year? Is that true?
I haven't read up on it. I'm not sure.
I thought they were taking away OTC. I
heard something about that.
Something close to that.
Yeah.
Check it out. Well, Joe, so you get the tag, and then you head out there in October. Pick up the story from there. Tell us.
Flew one way, which I should have done a round trip. Because in my mind, I'm killing a bull. I'm leaving with something, as Denzel Washington was saying at me. I'm leaving with something. So planning to fly one way, get an elk, drive it back to North Carolina. I thought it was the most cost effective, but I think realizing the prices where I was at, if I did a round trip, it would have been a little bit cheaper to fly everything back. One way ticket, my ticket was $119, which was awesome. Like really, really good price. So I had shipped all my food to him. And also I got to shout out my buddy, Corey Banks. He was my sponsor. Clothing, like the type of clothing you need is very important. I did not realize it. And his gear, I kid you not, it's going to be a little bit dramatic for me to say it, but his clothing saved my life because of the situation we got in with the rain and the temperature drop. It was just a perfect scenario for bad things to happen. But anyways, I borrowed a spotting scope for them, Vortex spotting scope. I had none of this. And just when I'm looking at the dollars, I'm like, this was probably like $3,000 worth of gear that I did not have to pay for. So Vortex spotting scope, his Vortex binoculars, I think they were 12 by something. His binocular harness, his, I don't know, $800 Fisher pack, which was like pillows on my shoulders. So one of the things I did to kind of prep was I used this Kelty kids hiking backpack, which was not actually comfortable when we had our kids in it. We used it till they were like 3 or 2 heavy. But I put 50-pound sandbags inside and I pushed my daughter also in the stroller, and
There you
that
go.
thing was digging into my like it was painful. I'd only able to do like 3 or 4 laps in my neighborhood, and it was just like digging. So when I put that Stone Glacier on, this is not a plug. I'd love to have love someone to send me,
Yes,
free
Stone
free
Glacier
Stone Glacier
sponsor
pack
him now.
because they're expensive. But the thing was also like saved my back. I had a bad back. Old. No, I'm not old. But anyways, this pack was amazing. So I got that pack from him. He gave me all his First Light gear. I had First Light. He gave me his rain jacket, which was the part that saved my life. And then he had, what did he give me? A heavy jacket, a heavy First Light jacket. Which I don't know what it was, but it was heavy. It was almost too heavy. It was something that someone said I didn't need, which I definitely didn't need until I got myself into a situation where I was mildly hypothermic. It actually helped me warm up. October, it was actually hot. It was 60, 70 degrees, and then the temperatures have dropped maybe 40, 50 degrees, some 30s in there. It was actually supposed to snow in the latter part of the week, around Thursday, Friday, when the season opened up Tuesday. So I did bring the rain jacket knowing that was going to happen. But I didn't bring any rain jacket bottoms. Corey was like, "Do you want to take the rain jacket bottoms?" Because this was like a $800 like combined. First Light is not cheap at all.
Yeah.
So he gave me the rain jacket top. I wish I would have taken the pants based on the scenario we're in. But anyways, everything I got, it was just such a blessing, man. Such a blessing to have all this gear, so I didn't have to pay out of pocket. So I fly in. We do a lot of fishing. I'm fly fishing, which I'm terrible at fly fishing, but I like it. He catches some fish. This is Saturday, Sunday. What do we do Sunday? Oh, Sunday is when I realized I was not built for elk hunting. So Sunday it was, he gave me some options. So we had 2 areas we wanted to hunt. One area was short but steep, very steep. He actually shot a bull at his bow 3 yards, which was incredible.
Oh, wow.
But so he gives me an option. We can scout it to eliminate the area. Because he did see another bull in the area. So he's like, we can scout it, or we can go fish, have fun, go to some lake, catch some cutthroat trout, which I'd always wanted to do. But I was like, dude, let's just scout. So we get up early in the morning, head to the spot, and we're hiking, pitch flat, and we're getting an elevation. I'm like, this isn't bad. This isn't bad. And I'm like, okay. So we're getting halfway to the area where we're going to glass. So we get there at First Light, and I'm like, oh, this is okay. I'm breathing heavy. This is a lot. Okay, I can do it, but this is a lot. So listen for about an hour or two, and this was the area where the spotting scope was very helpful. Option 2 was very thick where we were, but option 1, we were trying to rule out if the elk were in the area or not, and we didn't see any. We think what happened was we think we just missed them. If you're ever glassing in a vast area, which I've actually never done, everything in North Carolina is I'm shooting deer at bow hunting. And from rifle hunting, I'm not shooting deer more than 50 yards. So everything's thick. I never need binoculars. I never need a spotting scope. But when you're looking at these mountains, everything looks so small. It looks like 2 or 3 feet high. But when you step into it, it's up here. So he was explaining to me the elk could pop out at anywhere. They could always be there, but they can pop out at any moment. So we thought, since we didn't see any, maybe when we were looking, they were going across a ridge, and they just went out of view before we can see them. So Johnny goes, we were halfway to the top. So he goes, Joe, 2 options. Again, he was very thoughtful on, hey, do you want to push yourself or do you want to chill? So it's like, are you good? Are we good here? Do you want to go up to see if we can find any fresh track? Or we can just cut it early, go fishing. So like, let's do it. And in hindsight, it was a bad idea. Because it was straight up. So we went another half mile up, and that's where I was gassed. I was like, oh, wow. So this is elk hunting, and this is elk hunting. So I'm always like, probably 30, 40, sometimes 50, maybe 100 feet behind him, just taking in wind, and he'd stop and look down and be like, come on. So we found fresh tracks. And we figured that they were at least there that morning or before First Light. So he's like, you're still here. So then we get back when we're coming down. I'd always heard about side hilling, and I didn't really kind of understand it. So it wasn't that it was hard. Like I didn't so I started cramping going down the mountain. So like my the inner muscle in your above your knee inside, it's one of the hardest muscles to stretch. They were both seizing up, so we had to stop, get water. I used liquid IV just to get some electrolytes in me, so I would drink that, and I could feel like my body, my muscles relax. So drink that, sit for like 10, 15 minutes, eat, and I was good to go. Still cramping. And then we went to a hot spring. And one day I wake up and I feel like I played a 90-minute soccer game. My quads are burning. I feel like I got punched in my, quads. My calves are tight. And I'm just like, oh, wow, this is just one day. And we only went a mile. So I was like, in my mind, I was like, oh, am I cut out for this? Am I cut out for this? Did I prepare enough? So Monday we ended up doing a quick mule deer hunt for him because he still had a tag. We get back, and we sight in the gun. So the 300 Win Mag, has anyone ever shot a 300 Win Mag? A cannon,
I've
man.
not.
The thing was like
Yeah.
a sledgehammer hitting my shoulder.
Yes.
Set it in at 250. We'll just make sure it's on, and then kind of making sure I'm on. And then we started shooting at distances at 150 yards because the next spot we were going to probably go to, he was saying shots would be 120 yards max, but an average shot would be 50 yards. So we were going to see what that bullet did. At 50 yards, it was slowly creeping up. So it was shooting high at 3 or 4 inches, and then at 100 yards, it was really kind of peaking up because it was sighted at 250. It was kind of shooting 5-6 inches high. So he was like, think about that when we're shooting at these elk. It's 100 yards. Just make sure you're aiming lower, so you're not getting to a mine shot situation or a high shoulder shot where it's no vitals. So we set that in, and then we up everything. Monday evening, we pack up everything and we go to the trailhead and we hike. We go in, right? So the area we're in is he used a dirt bike, I use an e-bike. This is my first time using an e-bike. It's supposed to be 3 miles in, but Onyx did not lie. He lied. It was 4 miles. He was able to just take off. With this e-bike, anytime I gain elevation, like not straight up, but I couldn't pedal fast enough and use the motor to go up. So anytime I had to go up a big hill, I had to stop, and it would, kind of drag me up the hill. But my pack, so my pack, I'll tell you what I had in my pack. I had, I think I had 2 pairs of pants, base layers, maybe a t-shirt, a rain jacket. My buddy gave me Corey. Thank you, Corey. Shout out. Gave me a Brooks down packable jacket, which was really warm but light. So I had that, and then I had that heavy, heavy jacket that I really didn't need, but actually came in to help me keep warm. So my pack had that, tent, sleeping pad, and my food, and I swear it was heavier than the shoulder and the back strap. So I would say it was probably 80 pounds. So I have 80 pounds in my back in the Stone Glacier pack, and the trail is a foot to a foot and a half wide, and it's not crazy steep on each side, but as we're going up, it's like, if I take a wrong turn and I get 80 pounds and I'm going down and tumbling far. So halfway through, my e-bike starts malfunctioning, and I'm like, what the crap? So I had to walk it.
Jeez.
Oh no.
So it was just like, I'm dying. Can I catch a break? And so we would go up an elevation, and then I would be able to coast down. So coasting down was fun, but then I'd hit another elevation, have to go up, and I'd literally have to carry everything, push it up without the assist wasn't working, the throttle, whatever. So we barely have signal. I text Johnny. He was already thought we were going to bomb down to camp, and I texted him like, dude, I'm struggling. Help. So he dirt bikes back to me, grabs my pack, and he goes, and I don't hear him anymore. It's just pitch black at this point, and I'm halfway there, and we get to our spot, but like it was painful for me because the bike wasn't working, so I still had to go downhill, get off to go uphill. So then we get to camp Monday night around 8 o'clock. I am not ashamed to say that I was scared, because I was scared. There's black bears. Thank God there's no grizzlies. Just thinking of this whole scenario, like I have so much respect for those that hunt with grizzlies, because that's crazy. Like that is just it. Just thinking, I felt Obviously I've fished everywhere in Virginia and Tennessee, but out west I felt tiny. I felt so small, right? I just like in the area we're in, it was just so dense, and it's like, wow, there's black bears out here, which I'm not really worried about. There's mountain lions, which I am really worried about, because those things, if they're in you, you're gone. Like there's nothing you can really do other than get lucky. But if it gets a hold of you, you're done. And then there's wolves, of course. So I was worried about a mountain lion. But so we get in. I don't think we ate. We went straight to bed, but I could not sleep, guys. My mind was racing because opening day was the next day. My buddy's snoring over there. We're in a separate little single tent, and 9 o'clock comes, 10 o'clock, and 12, and then 2, and then 4. I fall asleep at 4 a.m. I also drank so much water because I want to tell you guys about the sickle cell trait, which uh, having sickle cell is deadly. Having sickle cell trait, which is not studied so much. So a lot of African Americans, I don't know the percent, but a high percentage can be carriers or are more susceptible to having sickle cell. I had none of my family, my parents, my brothers knew about sickle cell or sickle cell trait. Of course, we knew about it, but we didn't realize the trait had symptoms. And we didn't know it till my oldest son. I guess they tested for it for some reason. If there was an African American mom or dad, they're going to test for it because studies have shown the trait also carries symptoms for having sickle cell. So my oldest son tested he was a carrier for sickle cell trait, which I have it. And then my other two actually don't. So sickle cell trait symptoms are you dehydrate faster, which makes you susceptible to severe cramps, and you fatigue faster. So all of my brothers and my sister, we all played college soccer. Not college soccer, we played high school soccer. My other two brothers played college soccer. We would have the worst cramps ever. Like we were, like I'm not gonna lie and say we were the fittest. We were mid-table fit. Like we were beating people in sprint, sometimes faster. Long distance, we were all short, so sprinting we would crush people. Long distance, not so much. Terrible. Probably bottom third, maybe middle, bottom third. College.
Nice.
I did a 5.5 minute mile, which is pretty good, with my short little leg.
Yeah.
But anyways, so going into college, again, I didn't know what sickle cell trait, what it carried. In college, I was also fit, but I remember a couple of times during preseason, we do 2-a-days. Like I was fit, following up with everybody. At the end of, or specifically remember this one time, at the end of 2-a-day, we were cooling down, and my entire body lumped up in a cramp. It was the most painful experience. My arms, my abs, my chest, my quads, my toes. My toes were pointing straight out like that. I had to get carted off the field and dumped into an ice bath. So, that segues into what I was experiencing into Idaho. It wasn't, like, I thought I was okay fit, right? But what my wife texted me was, she was searching. She's like, "Hey, just to let you know, your symptoms are going to be worse because you're in high elevations." I was like, "Oh, I didn't think about that." So that first day, not just like maybe I wasn't fit enough, but those cramps were getting to me. Like that Sunday scouting, the next day I felt like I had played a soccer game, and then Monday I was still feeling it, and then Tuesday going into Monday night, fast forwarding back, I got 2.5 hours of sleep that Monday night. Just I drank so much water. I think I drank 1.5 gallons. I peed like 7 times throughout the night, so that didn't help me sleep. And then I was like, every twig I was holding on to the 300 magnets. And like, all right, I don't know what that was, but you don't want any of these problems. I didn't get any sleep. I actually woke up Johnny at like 6:30. We didn't need to get up till like 7:30, so he was a little annoyed at me. He's like, "Why are you up?" I'm like, because I can't sleep." So we get up.
You're like, "Hey,
and
are you awake, Johnny? Are you
Hey,
awake?"
are you in there?
Yeah.
So we get up and first light, and we're bombing down the mountain. He's just calling, cold calling, and trying to get a response. So he's never hunted in October. He's never hunted the rifle season in October. So he was kind of curious to see how the bulls were going to react. So he had no idea what was going to happen. So we're bombing down. This is Tuesday opening day. I think around 8:30, we bust a cow. But he's like, get up to the spot, and I'm going to start calling. I'm going to be like 6 yards behind you, and just to see if anything pops out. So I'm creeping up, and he's calling, and all of a sudden I hear a majestic bugle, and I was literally like, "What is that?" that's a bugle. So I was like, holy crap, that's a freaking bugle. So we had elk in North Carolina. I don't know if anyone knows that. I'd heard a bugle before, but it just was so real. I'm hunting for them. I hear a bugle. This was like, holy crap, it's happening. We hear that first bugle and it is on. Johnny's like, oh, this is good. This is good. So like, we're getting closer. We're trying to close the distance. I didn't know anything about what to expect in elk hunting. I knew a little bit how elk were going to move. I knew in the mornings they were going to come up the mountain and then go back down the mountain, but I didn't know times and when and how they would do that. But Johnny was kind of teaching me. I gained so much knowledge on this hunt. But this one bugle was down low, right? So, and we're paying attention to the wind, which I didn't really realize in this flat area. Typically in our low ridger systems, in the mornings, that sun hits and their thermals are pulling up. But with these finger ridges in these mountains, the sun doesn't hit the mountains for a while, so the thermals are pulling down. So the elk are literally chilling. You guys could connect with this, but the elk are chilling on their way up, right? So that the thermals are pulling down. So we worked our way to get even with them. So we're going down the mountain. So in my mind, oh crap, we're going down. We got to go back up. I'm like, oh my God, why do we keep going down? We got to go back up. So we're trying to get
Why
even
didn't
with
you bring
them.
your dirt bike?
Right? So we're going down to get even with this elk so our wind is not going to them. So that is the name of the game with these mountain areas, is you have to stay even with the elk. But once the sun hits, the elk are, I don't know if I'm saying this as fact, but in my opinion, the elk were literally not racing, but on a steady march up. As soon as the thermal switch and they're pulling up, they shoot up. So that way they have the advantage of smelling anything. Sorry, the thermals pull up, so they're up to catch anything below them. So they get up and then they feed. So this bull, again, bugles at 8:30. We get closer around 9 o'clock. And so we hear a bugle up above us. We hear the one that was central to us. And then we hear another one down below. So we have 3 different bulls bugling. And Johnny was like, this is really good. Like, I might have to hunt more in October. So like he was really shocked at how responsive they were. So I don't know if it was a second rut scenario or, I know second rut might have started around there, but it was for the bulls to be responsive. He was very surprised. So we key on this elk that's more central to us and we get down and then it's crazy how fast these animals can move. I didn't realize how fast they can move because we're hearing it down low, right? And then maybe every 30 minutes he gives us a clue where he is, and then you're making your move based on that bugle. And like I swear he was like, you feel like he's a mile down below you, and then like 30 minutes later he's like way up above you. And it's like, how the heck did he do that so quick? So being fit is very important because you're trying to get down even with him in a mountainous area in this situation we're in. You had to get down so your thermals didn't drop to them. And then when they went up, you had to catch up with them because your thermals were going straight back up to them. So when we got this bull, we had to play cat and mouse of getting even with him. So as I'm going down to get him, he's beat us up. So we're going up. And I was starting to cramp going up to get to him, which was not good. I was starting to, not like terrible, but I could just tell they were starting, like calves were starting to clench a little bit. So we get with what Johnny said within 200 yards on these finger ridges, and this bull was firing off. Like, in my mind, it was going to happen that day. So he steps back 60 or 70 yards, calls, and he's kind of coaching me, Joe, you got to get up to this finger ridge, but go slow, because he was coming at us. At that point, they just stay there. Like, so apparently when elk are bugling, they're closer than what you think they are, is what he kept telling me. So he estimated this bull was within, the closest we got was 150 yards. Had it been open area, I would have been able to drill him. I was thinking in the scenario that I was going to shoot this bull because he kept coming closer, and then he just stalled. So what we thought happened was, so a lot of times what elk will do is they'll corral their herd or the cows, and they'll put them to bed, and then when you're calling, they're like, ooh, that's another girl. Hey, what's up, girl? I know where you at? Where you at? So that's kind of what was going on. He had his herd, and then he was like, oh, there's another new girl on the block. So he was interested. And then there's a time where if it's not what they want, they're going to be like, oh, I got plenty of girls. I'm going to go back to my herd. So he started pushing them up and then down, away from us. So it was really, really close to happening. And then he got disinterested. Maybe he winded it. I don't think he definitely didn't win this because he was still bugling, but he was going away and down. So we tried to catch up with him. So he bombed back down. And this was, so from 8:30 to 11, this is when all the action happened. And so we planned to go back out at 4:30. So coming back from that first elk action, I was starting to cramp pretty bad. So he knew I was kind of hurting. So the evening hunt was like, we're going to take it easy. So again, he was like very thoughtful of like what was going on with me. So we, instead of going down, we kind of took a different way, and we got to areas where there were wallows and spot where he would figure that the elk would come up to. So we ended up kind of sitting for like about an hour. In cold calling, but on the way there, we had bumped a calf and a cow. So we tried to stay even with them, and maybe we'd bump into a herd, but we never did. But we sat at this spot until last night, and this was actually a really cool experience because I had never heard a cow call before, obviously, other than him calling. So apparently, I think it was the same cow and calf. The calf gets lost and starts mewing. It was like, yeah, it was so cool. Like it was. I got a little bit on camera in the video as like it was like light was fading. I just mewing, and then I'm lost, and then the mom was like, "Hey, I'm over here, and I kind of see motion. They were probably like 150 yards away, but that was a really cool end of the day hearing those two mewing in and the last light. And so we hiked back to camp, and it's Wednesday, which is kill day. There was a lot of doubt in my mind of the whole experience of do I have to kill an elk. I was actually really doubtful based on what I needed to do. Like these lead bulls, they're hard to get to in this area, like just how fast they move. I did not, like he could have killed these lead bulls because he was fit. He's mountain fit, I guess, which he doesn't work out. He just, chops firewood and does man things in Idaho, all that kind of, shovel snow. The 2 feet of snow they get. So he just was like pulling me along, inspiring me like, Joe, come on, kind of thing. So Wednesday morning, we wake up, and instead of doing the same thing we did for first, a separate way. So bomb down, we went left first morning, because what happened was, I'm going to do it with my hands, bomb down, up or down here, it came up, and then worked back down. So what we did is we did a semicircle loop, planned to locate them, and if they were going to do the same route, we would be able to cut them off if they try to do the same thing. First light comes, we're doing a locating call, and boom, hammers off. Not in the same area as Tuesday, and we're making a gameplay, but he is not as, so this was a first light bugle. The day prior was 8:30 is when the bulls started really being, and then 9 o'clock was like, where they were really, really responsive. So he gives us he gives us a bugle at first light, and he's quiet for the next 2 hours. So we kind of get to the top of where we wanted to be. We bust the cow, which was really weird. It was alone, and we only heard that one bust. So we stayed in that area. We ate breakfast, and he was like, "What we're gonna do is, since he's not being responsive, we're just gonna wait and play it out. We're not gonna bomb down in there and booger him out." So we take about an hour break. We start making a play down the mountain. 9 o'clock when we started getting the same bull, he started talking to us. So he was down, and then all of a sudden he was to our left. So he was starting his ascent up. So I was like, holy crap. The whole time we were checking wind, the wind was just whipping down. So we could not advance because we wanted to keep a wind just cutting in front of him. So we get to an area, Johnny's communicating, hey man, this is good. At this point, we're around, I would say, let's just say we're 300 yards away. I look up the hill, and so as this is happening, Johnny's kind of like, you need to be in front of me because this is, this situation's happening. Like, we're going to see some elk or something's going to happen. So you need to be ahead of me. This bull was just hammering, but he was like, he got above us. He was probably, so at this point, we're 200 yards away, and Johnny's like, we're really, really close. And he asked me these words, Joe, if there's anything in you now, it's got to be now, or we're not going to get to these elk. And that was just like, I was like, Johnny, let's go. I was cramping. I was cramping at that point. I was cramping because we went down and then we were going up. So I started to cramp, and then we bust a raghorn. So he's to our left. Heel crafts, he circles a little bit and he pops out in this opening at about 150 yards. And I see him stop. Johnny's like, there he is. So I pull up on him and I'm on 4 power. I just couldn't make an ethical shot. And the freaking zoom was so hard to do. Like it took me a minute. So by the time I got it to 8, or I think I shifted to maybe 8 power or 10. By the time I got it up, he busted out. He's in front of me at this point, and we're kind of like reading the situation. This elk is still bugling. There was commotion going on. He's like, we just need to kind of read the situation because something could pop out. But I'm kind of like just thinking everything, kind of just dazed and looking, and like I hear him calling, and then I'm looking like away from Johnny, and then all of a sudden I look at Johnny. He's hitting his, get over, get. And he's whispering, "Get Joe, come on, Joe, get." And I look at him. So I look at him for like a minute. And he's getting mad at me. And I look up and I see this freaking elk. He's on the finger and he's looking down and it's like this. So I walk over to Johnny and pull up and I look and I can see him. I see his, I see his shoulder. I barely can see his head. I see the darker, I don't know what color you could say, amber. I see the dark part of his neck. And he says 3 times, identify, because, I didn't want to shoot a cow. I'm on the delt. I identify. He says to the tree, like 5 feet away, there was a tree. He wanted to, who's going to shoot at an elk free-handed? This guy. So he's like, he's like, go, get to the tree. So I'm looking as he's saying it, and I see the elk, his head turned. I see, when you're hunting, you notice deer's mannerisms, whether they're going to stay or they're going to go. And I saw him. Johnny couldn't see what was going on. I saw his mannerisms, and I'm like, dude, he's going to book it. So he wheels up like this, and I just was like, God, please. And I just let it rip. He's pouring away a shot. In Johnny's mind, after telling me, he was like, oh, God, what did you just do? You just shot at a bull 160 yards free-handed. And I felt confident. What I didn't feel confident was like we stepped it off, kind of, sort of. Think about was, what I kind of thought about it was the range and having to shoot aim lower, right? Things happen so fast. He's on the top of a ridge, a finger ridge, and I see antlers. Like I shoot, happens so fast, see antlers just go over. Don't know if it's a hit. Don't know if anything happened. So Johnny's like, I'm going to stay here. You go up to because it was like a 5, I want to say 3 to 4 foot window of, so I could see his base of his neck, his head through like a evergreen tree, and I could see like I could see his hand. So I would probably say maybe 5 foot window in between all these evergreens. So it was God and it was perfect. So he said, go up to that area. So I go down in this ravine, go up, and then I'm going up to where I shoot him. So in my mind, the way I shot, I was like, I spined him or I missed because of the not compensating for the being sighted at 250 yards. And I go up to kind of where I think I hit him, and I'm just doubt stripping it because I don't see blood. And I'm looking in the area. I'm trying to see Johnny because he's down below me. And I look over, I look to my left again, looking for blood, and like doubt. And I just turned my head to the right 30 yards, and he was dead against the tree. And I just,
There you go.
what? Yeah. Was just lost it. I knew he was dead. I got within like 15 yards, dropped to a knee. Like a baby, because like it was the emotions of this isn't gonna happen. Like if I shot an elk on Thursday, like I was thinking I had to go to work on Monday. Like the whole process was like the whole thing was just perfect the way it happened. He's down. I see Johnny through the gap, and I'm like, "Bull down, baby!" Love it. So he comes up to me and, we quarter it. So we knew rain was coming, right? So rain started to hit as soon as we started to try to hoist things up. We did not bring in a proper rope to hoist up because we didn't want any predators to get to the meat. So when we were starting to hoist, it started to pour. So we got our rain jackets on. I didn't have any base layers on. I think I just had regular. I left my base layer, which was my bottom, which was great. I had base layer top, a quarter zip, and the down jacket, and a rain jacket. So I took off the down jacket, put the rain jacket on, and it was pouring rain, and we're trying to hoist everything. Well, we're like, we can't hoist it up. I had some kind of zip tie situation. I zip tied the head to a log. We cut a bunch of evergreens and put it over the meat. And then he packs a ham, I pack a shoulder and a back strap. I had not had Onyx, so this is a plug. I don't know if Onyx sponsors, but you saved my life. So I didn't have Onyx. I had Onyx, so I had the basic model. My buddy Jacob, if he listens to this, so I was using Huntxp and base mat. I had Onyx, so I had the very basic model where I could like see pins, but I couldn't do much. So while I had signal, this was all God. I downloaded the app, and Johnny sent me camp. So he was like, so it's pouring rain, it's temperature dropping. He's like, dude, I know you're not gonna be able to keep up with me. You want to get back? I'm gone. So like in my mind, I don't want to get lost. I'm gonna keep up with you. I'm gonna keep up with you. I did not keep up with him. So 30 minutes in, he goes, and I remember him telling me. So he showed me on Onyx. I don't know the correct terminology. Is if you hold down on some icon, it shows you your orientation where left, right is, right?
Yeah.
So there is, again, this is panic. When I get lost, panic is ensuing, and there were so many tools on this app that would have helped me figure out what was north, south, east, west, or point me to camp. But I did not. I had downloaded the elite version like 10 minutes into going, right? So I didn't really know the functionality of the app. Had I known the functionality of the app, what I'm about to tell you would have not happened. So he goes 30 minutes. I lose him. I remember him telling me, hey, we're going to hit the drainage system that we can't near because that's where we got water. He said, follow the drainage and you'll get back to camp. He gets lost, screaming, I'm cursing, I'm mad, I'm angry. Like, dude, this sucks. My phone's dying. Dummy me. Again, there's a lot of situations and mistakes I made with not bringing with me. I didn't bring a charger. I had this, what is this light? I think it's called Last Light. So I had that. It was going to last 12 hours. I had left all of that in my tent. I should have packed that. So like the day before I'd packed that and that extra flashlight. So my phone was at 36% when I got lost. It's pouring rain. I can't get my phone. I can't put my 6-digit code in because I just got a new phone because I was filming with the iPhone 16, which was a lot of the footage that I filmed in. So you had to put 6-digit in. Anytime I try to get a digit in, the rain, it was just too much rain. I could not. So I was getting so frustrated. I was panicked. I was trying to get my code open. I finally get it open and then it would lock. I'd had the 30-second lock. So just panic was ensuing. I'm lost. I know where camp is. So I get lost. I kind of calm my nerves. I find the drainage system. I'm like, oh, good. So I'm getting it. I'm good. But while getting lost the first time, I was like, I got to get this phone to stay open. Like, I got to get it to lock, unzip my jacket, and dry it off really quick, the phone, and then lock the screen on it so that I can always see where I was going. So I thought. So I get lost the second time because the drainage peters out. The water just goes. But on the way there, like I saw every landmark I remember in my mind. As hunters, some of us, I like to say some of us have a photographic memory. Like we're like, oh, I remember that rubble, or I remember this. Obviously, when you're in a foreign area, I'm always telling my son, remember landmarks. Like literally, it clicked in my head. Like when we're going in an area, I'm like, son, you see that tire right there? If you get lost, remember where that tire is, and that's going to help you. So like as I got lost the first time, I'm finding areas that we walked through on Tuesday. I'm like, okay, I'm on the right path. But the drainage peters out. And so when the drainage peters out, I am trying to figure out, okay, left, right. Okay, here we are. I got to 400 yards away and I started turning circles. So I couldn't figure out how to orient myself to stay straight. And I thought I was going straight and I looked at the app. So I had my tracker on. So the Onyx has a tracker. That's one of the tools that actually helped me figure out, you're doing loops, dude. I did 3 loops. I got 700 yards away from camp. So this is when panic ensues again. So I did text Johnny the first time I got lost that, dude, I'm lost. So he gets back to camp. Second time I'm lost. I'm 400 yards away. I do 3 loops. Johnny's at camp and he goes to himself, all right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go every like 50, 100 yards and hoop. Just hoop, hoop, hoop in the general direction. Getting off the second time, I, prayed, locked in. I was like, God, please get me home. So my phone was at 20%. And this was maybe 5:30, 6 o'clock. It got dark at 7. Just thoughts got in my head. It's getting cold. I'm already freezing. I'm wet. My bottoms are soaked. If I get lost and my phone's dead, what is going to happen? Can Johnny find me? Or am I going to like succumb? Or is this going to be an emergency find me situation? So I get my wits about me and finally heard Johnny hoop. And I'm just like, oh, like it was the happiest moment of my life. So we get to camp. Let's just say 6 o'clock. He's talking to me. He's like, all right, how you doing? I'm like, I'm cramping. I'm exhausted. He's like, well, we can't keep this meat with us. We have to go up to Main Trail. So camp had to go half a mile up and it's still pouring. Temperatures are dropping. We get up to the top and we find a cluster of evergreens and we're wedging the meat as high as we can in these, little fees or wide. So we're sitting still for probably 20 minutes. And we're getting cold. Like we're really getting cold. So it's last light is it's fading. And so we get that going and we literally I like to say we sprint, it looked more like a jog. Like we were going as fast as we could because we were cold going down to camp. So Johnny was like, as soon as we got to camp, he was like, dude, you cannot get, and this is so important, you cannot get any water inside of your tent, inside of your bag, because it's going to freeze tonight. Like this is not to say it was life or death. It was like, hypothermia, I guess you can say, could have happened. So again, pouring rain, we get to camp. He's like, you gotta take off. You gotta get naked and get into the tent. Luckily, I had a base layer. The pair of pants I wore on Tuesday that I thought were wet. I thought I'd set them out. If I didn't have those, I would have been SOL. So those are in there. So everything in my pack got soaked. I had that down jacket and I had the quarter zip furnace that was like another heavy layer of base layer. Those all got wet, and I had that big, heavy jacket that I didn't need. But so I get in the tent, take everything off, naked, go in, put the base layer on, put the panel on, put the jacket on, and get cold. So it's dark, and we barely have signal in the camping spot. It comes and goes. So Johnny's like, we gotta check the weather to see what's going on. It could get really, really dicey. So I get the weather information. It's supposed to get down to 28 within like 2 or 3 hours and snow. So he was like, all right, Joe, you got 2 options. We tough it out or we go back. And I'm like, I don't want to find out. Like, cause he was saying like the snow in Idaho, it can come hard and fast. The first snow or last snow, whatever, it could be an inch. It could be a foot. So, and that was like in my mind, I was like, I don't want to know what's going to happen if we stay. So I was like, I want a warm bed and I want to be alive. So I was actually drinking the liquid IV, like straight, like powder straight in my mouth, drinking, powder straight in my mouth, drinking. Because I was like, I got to get this in my body first. I'm like, Johnny, I think I can make it. I was just afraid in the back of my mind, I could like totally full body cramp and being in pouring rain in the element, body, like Johnny wouldn't be able to help me because I'm, 225. Could have been another hairy situation. So like, all right, let's just do it. And so we get up to dirt bike, e-bike. He can't get his dirt bike started, but he's like, because he's like hammering down and been sitting out there for a couple of days. He's like, Joe, go ahead. Get, maybe, 300 yards down and I hear this dirt bike go up. So, but before I hear that, I see another dramatic situation that it's not really dramatic, but I just have to tell the story and say that I was a wimp. But I'm riding on the trail and I swear to you, I'm not being paranoid. Maybe I'm being paranoid, but the way it looked was like there was a wolf on the trail looking at me, right? Like black wolf looking at me. And it's like last light, pitch black. And I could just see this, like in my mind, it's a wolf with his head down like this. But guess what it ended up being? It was a horse. It's the horse's butt and his tail, but just the way his butt was facing me, and so the tail just looked. I swear to you guys, it looked like a dang wolf. So like I scream out like, "Hey, hey, and it doesn't
The
move.
horse is
And then I
like-
hear butts to me, and then I hear two voices. Hey, don't shoot my horses. And I'm like, oh, people. I was like, oh, people. It wasn't a wolf. It was a horse. Two horses. I never saw the guys because they were down the mountain a little bit, not far. But so I yelled like, I'm sorry. I just, I didn't know you guys are out here. Because I think he thought I was going to shoot his horses, but like in my mind, I was just screaming to be like, if that's a wolf, I want it to like know I'm here and gone it. So I get past him, and then I hear Johnny catches up to me. I don't think he talked to the guy, but he said, "Hey Joe, you probably should like, what if you go back and talk to them, and maybe they can help us pack out like the next day or something like that?" Because we didn't know what was going to happen. So I actually go back to them and talk to them. So it was a father and son. They had shot a mule deer with like a 4x4 mule deer, and I think one of them had actually shot a bull they couldn't find, so they were going to stay in the area. But so I got his number. Really nice guy. Shout out to you guys. I don't think I remember your names, but they actually played a part in the second pack out. So we get home. The bike is malfunctioning, so I do have to walk it. I text Johnny. He comes back, he gets my pack, and I just, this is pitch black. So we get home at 10 o'clock. Lord, that I got home and everything. And then, so the plan was to get all of his buddies that were around that age to come help us. And not that they flaked, but they couldn't. They had obligations. They had the kids, they had to work. They just, it was, middle of the week, they couldn't help pack out. So we had nobody. So he did have a friend with horses. That flake just fell apart. We got, shout out Dennis and Wayne. So Dennis is one of Johnny's mentors. He's 75 years old. And Wayne is a 7-year-old retired Marine. Those are the only two we could get to help us. So next morning we get up. There's 3 inches of snow on the ground. It's cold. I'm like, oh Lord, like I'm already like I'm not that I'm cramping, like I'm exhausted at this point. So we get up to the mountain, and Dennis had brought this game cart, and I was kind of, not that I was frustrated or annoyed, but I was like, we got this game cart, like we have to walk it 4 miles. Take the dirt bike because it was kind of a dangerous situation being wet and it snowed. So he took the e-bike. This is how fast Johnny is. So e-bike's 4 miles, bums half a mile down to camp. He eats a little bit, goes to the elk, gets a ham, back up to the top, and beats us there by the time. So I walked it. I walked because I'm like, I'm not letting these guys carry this thing. So it's probably 20 pounds. So we cart the whole thing all the way 4 miles to the top of the mountain, right? I caught a second wind. Like I thought I was going to be dead. Like I had a lot of doubt in my mind. Like this is going to suck. It did suck, but I thought it was going to be really, really painful. But anyways, we get there. Johnny's already got a hand at the top. So we have a shoulder back strap, head, and strap meat. Just had to leave. So he ended up going down the camp, getting maybe 30, 40 pounds of camp. And then he took the e-bike back. So me, Wayne, and Johnny went down, got the head, the shoulder back strap, and the strap meat was probably 50 pounds. Wayne refused to take the lighter pack, so he took that. Which the head was just awkward, but like the whole time, like I was asking, "Do you want to switch? You want to switch?" She's like, "I'm not." So just never quit attitude. We get back to camp, we pack it all up, we get up to the top of the mountain. I would guess 275 pounds. He had a ham, shoulder, back strap meat, head, all of our jackets, all of camp, which is probably 70, 80 pounds each. But, Dennis took some, so it was heavy. So 3 of us took the turn from where we had parked all the way to the trailhead. Took us 3 hours and 30 minutes to take the 4 miles, and it was really, really hard. But it was easier with the game cart, and here we are. I got it all back.
That's
Dang.
crazy.
That's a great elk story, Joe. It's fantastic.
It was nuts. It was nuts.
And for your
What an
first, that
epic
could be your
story.
first one too. That's crazy.
I didn't
Dude.
realize how hard, I didn't realize the percentage of, I knew bow hunting was like 9%, but I didn't realize like total, I guess maybe in Idaho, and of course, across states, it's kind of lower or higher of success and harvest rate, but I didn't realize, like Johnny was like, you had a once in a lifetime hunt based on, you killed on the second day, we were in bulls that were very responsive, and yeah, I heart shot that the elk, by the way, according
Well,
shot,
nice.
so I don't give the credit to me shooting freehanded. I give it to God because I just let it rip. I knew where I was shooting, but who knows when you're shooting freehanded.
That's awesome, dude. Man,
What a cool story.
I'm so grateful for this, dude. It's
Yeah.
cool. I watched the video, but I'm like, dude, if we can get him on the pod and if he can spell that out, it would be amazing. So to hear you walk through the whole thing was a blast, dude. This is awesome. It's cool to get to know you this way too. Hopefully you can stay connected and
Absolutely.
hear more of your hunting stories. What do you got your eye on next? Do you want to try another state, or you want to head back out west, or what do you want to do next?
Well, bear hunting is next. I'm gonna go bear hunting again. Owl hunting, December 21st.
Nice.
But out of state, if my wife will be cool with it, I would love to go next year. I'm already planning, but I haven't planned with her yet. She's not going to hear it.
All right.
So I got till December 10th to tell her or make plans. So it's either this year or next year, and I want to go bow, which is going to make it even. And with a buddy that wants to go as well. So
nice. That's fantastic, dude. That's cool.
Thank you. I really appreciate you guys. You guys already sound like, hunting buddies already. So the Outdoors in Color _ on Instagram, Outdoors in Color on Facebook and YouTube, and then on TikTok, which not really a fan of that as much, but YouTube, we try to post. We're behind on content. We're posting a lot of fishing content from the summer, and then got a lot of hunting content coming out. Sunshine and 8-pointer Thanksgiving Day, which was like having your kids' success in the woods is better than like my year's been incredible. This is another podcast story. I almost
gotta have you back.
Killed a 165, 170 inch buck I'd been after for 3 years. I not shoulder shot him, hit him low with the muzzleloader on opening day. That's another story. But an absolutely massive deer with heartbreak. But
Oh man.
Yeah.
Leaving us with a teaser. We will have to have you back.
It's a big teaser.
You said that so we'd have to have you back, didn't you, Joe?
Yeah.
You're welcome back anytime, dude. This has been a blast. Appreciate it.
I really appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah,
for sure,
dude.
man.
Let's stay in touch. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Appreciate you. Well, that was awesome. Joe's
That was
amazing.
cool.
Hey,
What a
man.
cool
And
guy,
if you,
yeah.
dude, what a story.
Yeah.
That was amazing. If you've listened all the way, kudos, man. This was our longest one yet, but it was worth it. Joe's a great storyteller. Lots of stuff in there. It's just cool to have him on the pod. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of it. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you being here. We'll see you next week. We got great guests coming up here, and we'll keep it rolling for you. Head over to Huntxp.com if you're not connected with. Like and subscribe. Appreciate you.
See ya.
Did you know that you can use AI to become a better hunter? Here's what you got to do. Our team at Huntxp has built a custom AI. We call it Crockett. And it is the combination of the power of AI and the collective wisdom of hunters for many years mashed up together and put right in your pocket, right in the field where you can level up your hunting game. You can ask it things like, what's the best broadhead setup for my situation? What's the best day to hunt this week? All sorts of questions. You can take pictures of the snake you almost stepped on in South Dakota and say, is this a rattlesnake? That's something that actually happened to us. It's super fun. Our community is having a great time building this. We'd love for you to join in at Huntxp.com. Join us. Hey there, thanks for watching this video. I'm JD, founder and crew member of the Huntxp team. We're so grateful that you took time to watch this video, and hopefully it's helping you level up your hunting game. That's what we and our community is all about, and we want to invite you into this growing community of hunters that's all about leveling up each other's hunting game. So the first thing you can do is like and subscribe, but even more than that, we got some fun things going on over at our website, Huntxp.com. We'd love for you to join our community there and stay connected with what we're doing, what we're working on, and we'd love to hear about what you're after. So thank you for watching this video. We'll see you next time.